Most guys think they need to train 5-6 days a week to get fit, lean and strong, but that's why so many stay stuck. I have clients like these, Carl and John, who dropped body fat and built muscle training just 3 times per week. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through a simple but highly efficient and effective way that you can program your training for 3 times per week to get results just like Carl and John. First of all, there's nothing wrong with training 4 or 5 days per week. I train 5 days a week myself. The issue isn't frequency or the program on paper, it's what you're able to be consistent with, because consistency within your program is what's going to dictate the results that you get. If you're not consistent with your program, you're doing 3 one week, 4 the next, 5 the next, 2 the next, you're not actually having a chance to progressively overload on your lifts, so you can't therefore make any progress. And you'd be much better off having a lower frequency, looking at what you are able to be consistent with and being consistent with that. Which is why when clients start with myself, I will hammer this home when we're looking at their initial consultation form, when we're on our onboarding call, right, what are we realistically able to be consistent with? If we manage your time properly, what can we be consistent with? Now, the keys to making crazy progression in the gym is really simple. Consistency, execution and intensity. And the layout that I'm about to give you is so simple you'll be able to execute it in any gym. Most guys' training programs are full of shit and they've got zero way of actually progressing. They're just going in and doing it on a whim. They're winging it. So let's fix that now. We're going to do 3 sessions per week, 3 sets of every exercise and 6 to 8 reps of each. The rep range really doesn't matter. I like to have a variety normally within my own training, but if I was to pick a certain rep range and just stick with that, then it would probably be the 6 to 8 reps. But as long as you're progressing your lifts and training to failure, it doesn't matter. So here's the movement patterns that we're going to be picking from. Lower posterior, upper push, lower anterior, upper pull, and then 2 accessory movements specific to your goals. Lower anterior, you could do things like an RDL, a hip thrust, a glute bridge, a glute focus back extension, even a leg curl. Upper push, so chest pressing movements on a bench, machine, dumbbell, barbell, whatever tickles your pickle. Same with the shoulder press. Lower anterior, so squat variations, things like a hack squat, barbell squats, a leg press. Upper pull, now we've got horizontal and vertical pulls, and we're going to make sure that we include both of them across our week of programming. Horizontal pulls are things like a bent over row, a cable row, any sort of machine row. And a vertical pull is a lat pull down or a pull up. And then we've got accessory movements, so 2 exercises in each that are specific to your goals. So if you're trying to get bigger arms, you'd put some biceps and triceps. If you want some bigger delts, you'd put some additional shoulder work. If you want to train your abs, you put some additional ab work there. For me, across the week, I would make sure that I had some extra arms, delts, and abs. So let's put together an example over what this could look like. Full body 1, we're going to do RDLs, barbell bench press, leg press, chest supported T-bar row, and we're going to do single arm preacher curls, followed by cable rope tricep extensions. Full body 2, we're going to do a seated leg curl, incline dumbbell press, hack squats, lat pull downs, chest supported lat raises, followed by cable crunches. And full body 3, we're going to start off on the machine glute drive, go onto the pec deck, do some leg extensions, followed by a barbell bent over row, and then we're going to finish off with some more arms. So we're going to do hammer curls and overhead cable tricep extensions. Here's the thing most guys get wrong. They think they need to spam loads and loads of sets whilst they're in the gym. You don't. But you do need to train with intensity. Doing 20 sets per body part across the week as a whole, but training like a fanny and going nowhere near failure is a total waste of time. You need to be pushing to or at failure whilst you're in the gym. For this, I recommend you use our rapid progression formula, and it's really simple. So we've got 2 variables that we're going to adjust: weight and reps. You've got your given rep range, like our 6 to 8 reps, and the amount of sets that you're doing. So in our case, 3. Now your goal is to hit the top of the rep range. And in a traditional model, you'd want to do that for all of your sets before increasing the weight. But we're going to do things slightly differently. You're going to use your earlier sets as a gauge for what your latter sets are going to do. So as soon as you hit the top of the rep range for your first set, the following week, you're going to increase the weight on that first set. And then on the remaining sets, you can either stick with that same weight, or you can drop to the weight that you were using the previous week if you're not going to be able to stay within the given rep range. With this method, you don't have to lift the exact same amount of weight for every single set. It's much more fluid. Let's say we're doing barbell bench press. we've got our 6 to 8 reps. And on week 1, we hit 8 reps of 95 kg on our barbell bench press. So the following week, we're going to increase that first set to 100 kg. But in that first set, we just get 6 reps. So if we do another set on the same weight, we're not going to stay within the given rep range, right? We're going to drop out. So in our remaining 2 sets, we're going to go back to the 95 kg that we were using the week before. But then in the third week, you get 7 reps. So you think maybe in the second set, I might be able to just hit the bottom of the rep range, hit 6 reps. So you stick with the 100, but you get 6. Last set, you're going to dip out, so you drop again. The third week, you get 100 kg for 8, for 7, so you stick with it for all of your sets. And then because you've hit the top of the rep range with the 8 reps, the following week, you're going to increase the weight again. Hopefully you get the idea here, but this means that you don't have to sit around waiting for all of your other sets to catch up. It means you can consistently push onwards, which is great because you can capitalize on when you're the freshest in your earlier sets. And you can use any rep range for this, it really doesn't matter, the same principle will still apply. And in terms of intensity, train as hard as you fucking can. You don't know what reps in reserve are if you don't know what training to failure is. So just train as hard as you possibly can. And if your weight and reps are not consistently moving up, your physique is not going to be changing, right? You need to be progressing your training. You need to be exposing your body to a stimulus that it hasn't dealt with before. That's the only way it's going to change. So stop fannying about lifting the same weight for the same amount of reps. Train really freaking hard, track your lifts, and get moving. What you cannot forget though is to execute the lifts well. So please, no using sloppy form, momentum. Record your lifts, critique them, and look at how you can improve them. This is going to mean you're able to lift more in the long run, get more out of the lifts. And by doing this, it's going to mean that you look better in the long run. It's a win-win. Rest periods, what are we looking at here? So for our 4 bigger lifts that we're generally doing compound lifts on, I would look to take 2 to 3 minutes. On our 2 isolation lifts, I'd look to take 90 seconds, rest up to 2 minutes. Now, we've got a solid program in place, but we're still missing something that I see so many guys fuck up every single day, and that's the warm-up. This is leaving so many gains on the table and potentially exposing you to injury as well. Most people's warm-ups in the gym are fucking pointless. They're just doing a load of cardio, or they're doing 10 sets of 10, right, on everything building up to their working set weight, and then they're just super fatigued, so their performance sucks, or they just don't do a warm-up at all. So what is the aim of a warm-up? It's to stimulate us neurologically, it's to get our joints and muscles ready for the load that we're about to lift, to get a feel for the weight and the movement, and to lessen the injury risk. So let's look at an efficient and effective way that we can warm up to make sure that we maximize our performance in the gym. First of all, you're going to perform your warm-up sets the exact way that you would your main sets, with the same control, the same tempo. First set, you're going to go in as light as possible, just use the bar potentially, right? You're going to do 10 reps. You might want to do 2 sets of this if you're feeling a bit stiff. Then we're going to go up to 50% of your working set weight. So 50% of the weight that you're going to lift in your main set. And you're going to do 5 reps on that. Then up to 75% and do 2 reps. 90%, 1 to 2 reps. And then you're good to go. The percentage doesn't need to be 100% absolutely bang on, but close enough. Doing it like this isn't going to massively fatigue us and take away from our performance in our main sets, which is where we're actually going to progress. But we're not done. Because the exercises that follow, we don't just go in and lift our main weight. We need to do a feeler set to get us ready for those. Now, normally I would do 2 feeler sets, one at 50% of your working set weight and do 5 reps, and then another at 75 to 90% and do 1 to 2 reps. And then you go into your main set. And if you do this, I can assure you, your performance will be so much better than before. But unfortunately, this isn't everything. We need to look at how we dial in your nutrition, your lifestyle, your sleep, your stress. And I could sell to you right now, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to give you more for free. I'm a nice guy like that. In the description of the video, there's a link to my full Beachbody program that will teach you how to lose fat and build muscle, how to boost your testosterone in 8 natural steps, how to manage your sleep so you increase your mood, your energy, your testosterone and performance, whilst regulating your appetite so that you can lose more fat and build more muscle, and much more, just in exchange for your email, where I'll then offer you even more free good shit behind the scenes. And from there, you'll either get so much value that you're able to go and achieve your goals by yourself, or you'll think, this geezer really knows what he's talking about and I want to work with him. And then you can drop me a message. If you're already at that point, then there's a link to my application form in the description of the video. No pressure, you choose your path, and I'll see you in the next one.